Hi everybody, welcome to the first video of my Halloween week. I love making Halloween cards so much that I decided to share my joy with you and make a Halloween week out of it. This means that I've designed 7 cards and for 5 of them there will be a video here on my YouTube channel. The other 2 cards will be shared on my Instagram. You can find the link to my Instagram in the description. The first card is a very special one. It's featured on the Lawn Fawnatics blog with a new challenge that is online right now since I've been asked to be a guest designer. How cool is that, right? A second card of me will be featured later on in the challenge, so keep an eye out for that. But first, let me show you how I made this card. Spreek je Nederlands? Is ondertiteling beschikbaar. I start with coloring my images. I'm using Copic markers for that. I placed a cap with the color number on the left of my paper for you to see which color I used. The ghost and their accessories are from the Booyah stamp set. I stamped out the ghost with Memento, London Fog, so they have a more ghost-like look. The pumpkin with a face is from the Costume Party stamp set and the other pumpkins are from Happy Harvest. I've stamped the wagon only partially because I only need the pumpkins. If you want to skip watching me color, you can skip to the time that pop-ups on the screen now. You can also find a clickable time link in the description. I always trace the inner lines with a black fine liner after coloring to make them more visible again. In the video I'm only showing it with one image, but I will do the rest off screen. To finish my images off, I'm using a white gel pen to add some highlights. I die cut the images off screen. Also, I used a small circle die in a really high 5 set to cut out the ghost's face so I can use it for the reveal wheel. I die cutted a reveal wheel panel out of watercolor paper. I've used the circle add-on to cut out a matching circle so the ghost lines up perfectly. I used distress oxide in the color weathered wood to make almost the whole panel grey. I'm only skipping some of the bottom part since that will be fully covered anyway. After I'm done with the inking, I use my spray bottle to spray water on it quite heavily. I dab the excess off with a paper towel. I use another piece of paper towel to dry the panel even more so I can continue ink blending on the clouds. I use the cloudy stencil, distress oxide black soot and a blending brush to lightly blend on the clouds. I like to add the ink to the stencil first before I start blending it on to prevent too much ink getting on the paper in one spot. I turn the stencil every time I use it so the clouds will differ. I also like to play with angles and I overlap clouds so they will be more dramatic. After I'm done with the clouds, I go around the edge lightly to darken it up. Off screen I add splatters of black paint and glossy varnish. I use the spooky fence border on a piece of scrap black cardstock. With distress oxide, weathered wood and black soot and the brick stencil I'm blending on a brick wall. I place the stencil so that the top of the stencil makes a natural first line of bricks for the wall. When I'm done, I'm carefully going over the fence with black soot to change the color slightly compared to the wall. I'm taking the reveal wheel panel die to cut the final wall. I'm looking for a part where the bars of the fence aren't right in the line and that will be cut. I line it up with the top of my cutting plate so it won't be cutting the bars. There was a very tiny part that wasn't cut, so I used my small scissors to carefully cut it. Now I need to cut through the bars, so I'm using my big scissors so I can line it up with the line that is already cut. By doing it this way, the bars won't have a dashed line, which I think is prettier, since the bars are too narrow for a dashed line. Now I'm going to take a piece of watercolor paper to make the hill. I'm fully blending it with Distress Oxide Black Soot. By the way, if you like my videos, you can support my channel by subscribing. If you already have, thank you! After I'm done, I heavily spray it with water and dab off the excess with a paper towel. I'm cutting a hill with one of the simple stitched hillside border dies. After that, I'm using the bottom of the reveal wheel panel die to cut the final hill piece. I'm using the sentiment Happy Haunting from the Booyah stamp set for this card. I dust the hill with baby powder to make it anti-static. I stamp on the sentiment with clear embossing ink. I'm sprinkling on black embossing powder. I've turned on my heating tool to let it preheat a little so I can melt the powder faster. This prevents the paper from warping too much. Next, I'm taking my reveal wheel and I'm coloring it with the same Copic color I colored the ghost with. I'm drawing on some lines with a pencil to help me stamp on the faces. I already prepared a reveal wheel panel out of black cardstock where I've put on the bread and the little circle. If you want to know how I did this, you can watch another video of me where I put together a reveal wheel card. I've put a link in the top corner. I've put the wheel on the bread and I'm aligning the front panel and tape that down temporarily. Now, with the pencil lines as a guide, I can stamp on the faces carefully. I would not recommend using this technique to stamp on images that are larger than those faces. It could give you some trouble since it isn't solid beneath the wheel. The faces are small and flexible enough to be stamped on this way. I'm taking off the front panel. Also, I'm taking off the wheel. I'm erasing the pencil marks I made earlier. Now these ghost faces need some cute cheeks to complete them. To decorate the wheel, I've got another wheel out of black cardstock. With a round die that's exactly the size of the embossed circle on the wheel, I've cut out that part. I glue this on my decorated wheel. The black will be only visible on the side and the light grey will only be visible in the reveal wheel itself. Now I can put my wheel back on the base and I open the bread again. I add foam tape that's as thick as my wheel is high, so it will be level. Be sure nothing will be in the way of the wheel when it's turning. I carefully align the front panel. I'm making sure it's lined up correctly before I press it down. I can now begin assembling my scene. I'm starting by adding the wings to the ghost that has the circle cut out of him. I need to cut off a small piece of the wing to make it fit. You don't want anything sticking out from behind. I carefully glue the ghost in place and I glue his head on. Be sure to only add glue on the top of the head. Now I can continue with gluing on the fence. I found it a little high, so I cut a small piece off. The hill will cover this later on, so you won't see anything of it. Now I can carefully put glue on the fence and glue it down. With the use of tin foam tape, I'm adding the hill on top of the wall. I'm gluing the speech bubble onto the card and the outfits to the ghosts. I continue with the pumpkins. I'm first arranging them to see how I would like them before I glue them down. I cut off the handle of the wagon carefully before I place the pumpkins that are left after cutting. I first glue down the smaller two pumpkins on the left since they are on the hill layer. This makes it easier putting the rest back. The ghosts are glued down with the use of tin foam tape to give them a slight dimension. I'm adding the broom to the ghosts once it's stick down. With the use of my tweezers, I'm adding a piece of foam tape. I've glued down the fence slightly over the part where you spin the wheel. I'm doing the same with the pirate ghost. It adds some interest to the card and it ties the scene together. Just make sure you don't put it too high so it's not in the way when you want to spin the wheel. Now I can glue everything to my card base. I have made a card base out of black cardstock. I've cut a piece to size from a 12x12 Hello Sunshine remix, the Stellar remix. I'm gluing this down on my card base. I'm adding tin foam tape to my scene so it's lifted off the card just a little so spinning the wheel will be easier. Last but not least, I'm adding an arrow that I cut with the arrow die from the reveal wheel set. I cut it out of a scrap piece of paper that I colored orange with my Copic marker. And that finishes off the card. I'm so happy how this card turned out. It's so much fun how the face of the ghost changes, and I love how the color pops on the black and grey background. I want to thank Lawn Fawnatics for asking me as a guest designer. I really enjoyed making this card and I hope to inspire you with it. It also was a great card to kick off my Halloween week. Go check out the challenge on the Lawn Fawnatics blog to participate and keep an eye out on my YouTube channel and Instagram for the next Halloween week card. I hope you enjoyed my video as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to receive notifications when a new video is up. Thanks for watching and I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye!